Pay Your People Better, July 27th, 2026. I still haven't cleaned most of my dishes because I keep making new ones. But, like this new can of... Oh shit, did I turn it off? No, okay, good. Like this giant tray of beans using 6 cans of beans, although you could count this as like 2.5 basically, because this is 28 ounces and that's... Okay, not even 2. Whatever. These are 15 ounces each. But I was like, look, I was standing here and I was just like, how am I going to eat all you guys? Because I still have, you know, one of each basically, other than the bushes. Because the bushes, I was like, you know, I like it because I just had them sitting here and I was just like, what the hell am I going to do with you guys? I need to eat more beans anyway. And so I was like, well, fuck it. Let's do like a never-ending or a forever bean pot type thing. So I was like, what if I just like put them all in a tray, just like mix them all up, stick them in the oven for like an hour or two, and then I can just like do that every day. You know, like wake up, stick it in the oven after having it in the fridge for a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks, for this week and next week, because today was the day that I had to finally sell off about, technically I sold off 3,000 of my ETFs. I need to mix this up a bit. I've got my small offset spatula for the win. I scrape the bottom so much. It's just want to get stuff from the bottom to the top and so forth. This just happened to turn out just right. I might actually turn the temp down, put it at 250. Because I don't need it to brown. I just need it to evaporate and cook. Because it's just a giant bean mixture, and either I can just like start, you know, like I can scoop it out and start dipping, or who knows. I do definitely need to be cleaning dishes, and I plan on doing more. I've intended to for so long. Careful about this. It just barely fits in the oven, which is fine. Okay. So I'm just gonna throw these away. I had thrown them away, and then I was like, I could start a video with these. That would work. Well, let's see if I can even start doing dishes now. Alright, that's pretty decent. San Pellegrino bottle. I don't know what it is about soda water, carbonated water. It's just been something I'm liking recently. So I'm just doing that every now and then. And I'm not going to wash much, just because like I get overwhelmed too easily. Some of them I'm not even gonna like put them aside. Like this one, this coffee mug that I'm cleaning here, I'm just gonna kind of, you know, give it a light scrub and then a rinse, and then I'm just gonna let it fill with water. Because I just don't want to put in all the effort right now to really go ham on it. But it's mostly clean. This sponge is pretty much on its last days too. I should go ahead and throw it away when I'm done with it here. The thing I really miss about the fucking dishwasher situation is like this cover for my Ninja blender. It was perfect for the dishwasher because you just stick it in there and it can get all the crevices without any problem. I don't have to worry about any kind of residual foodstuffs. There's like a point camera over here. like drying it off and rinsing it off is just, rinsing and drying it is kind of awkward. And drying is relatively easy because I'm just, oops. Come on, come on, get on the foot, get on the 1 foot. Problem with using a wire rack for a shelving unit, but whatever. Some of these things have been here a while and they're kind of caked with nastiness. I don't even want to touch them really because of how bad they are. Which makes me want to do this even less. One thing I could do here with this is just kind of do a basic scrub. It's like this right here, just like doing a basic scrub is kind of what I've been doing. So I've kind of slowly whittle away at all this. It's like the neurodivergence way of cleaning. Do it in steps. I was talking to my therapist last week, I think it was. And I had mentioned that I was neurodivergent. Either that or it was like the time before. I honestly can't remember. All the time right now is just kind of blurring together into one thing, one experience. Because I'm done doing my physical therapy, now I have to do it on my own, and I've been slacking significantly. I think I only did it like once or twice last week. Honestly, don't remember. But I told him that it was neurodivergent, and he was like, basically, you know, his thinking is neurodivergent equals autistic. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm autistic. I know I have some traits that might seem, you know, there is a lot of overlap between ADHD and autistic mental health. But there's nothing that says to me that I'm autistic. But hey, maybe I am, I don't know. But he's not in a situation to be diagnosing it. And I was like, I'm using neurodivergent as sort of like atypical. And I'm more or less using it the way that like Wikipedia describes it. So that's the way that I've been going about it. I don't even remember why I brought it up. I guess neurodivergent cleaning. So some of the things that I've seen online regarding like the way you can approach life, just in general. You know how I think Hank and John Green have both adopted the idea of perfect is the enemy of the done. I think also maybe that was Adam Savage. Honestly, not sure. I know Adam Savage said it yesterday, so I could have been conflating him with others. But I tend to look at them similarly. You know, they're science educators who do different things, but all approach the realm of science and knowledge similarly and appreciate with the same level of appreciation, fascination. Let's clean this out so I can put something in it that I want. Filled one of these up with pudding yesterday. One of the big boys. It's still in the fridge, but there are a lot more pudding to go through. Pudding has been a comfort and has been a simplicity. It has been one of the best things I've found since I got here. I think I used to do some pudding every now and then, like very rarely, back when I lived in my last place. But here it's been like, it's a staple food now, because it slows down my milk consumption, I'll tell you that. It's so much easier to just chug a cup of milk than it is to consume a cup of milk via pudding. Because there's gelatin and all that in it. Despite the fucking water pressure and temperature and everything, it's fine right now. This is one of the reasons why I just don't get my dishes done. It's because I will try to start, and it's like, oh, okay, that's only going to hurt my back after 5 minutes, less than 10. And I'll have virtually nothing to show for it. So here, I'm like, okay, let's get some stuff taken care of. And like I said, you know, going back with the whole perfect is the enemy of the done, or the complete, or however you want to word it, it's like, okay, I'm not going to perfect any of these little containers, these like flimsy little deli containers that I have. They're not going to be cleaned right now. I'm not going to use them. What I'm doing though is I'm mitigating their dirtiness by simply doing a topical scrub. And so the next time I come in, I can do a better scrub or a full scrub. And then they can all be relatively done at relatively the same time. And then they can be done at the same time. Instead of sticking my hand in here and trying to scrub it all off, I'm just using this bottle scrubber that I bought, which one of the best investments I've picked up in the last, well, since I got here. Just going to scrub the bottom a little bit more. Get rid of some of it. I have so much water here at the bottom. Okay, that's good enough. It's like I have to start approaching life in ways that work for my worst days. It's what Jessica McCabe has mentioned multiple times in her channel, How to ADHD. Like, your worst days are the days you should prepare for. You know, expect the best, prepare for the worst. Not just for your expectations of like an event or a circumstance or whatever, but also for yourself. Expect the best for yourself, but also prepare for the worst of yourself. I'm not going to mess with that at the moment. This is my my blender container thing, or, well, a Ninja Blender blade, because food processor blades are a pain in the ass to fucking clean. My dishwashers are better. And I can only wonder how many people who are doing like what I'm doing in this building, you know, actually like cooking their own food and shit, versus like the one guy I met who like all he has is prepackaged stuff. So he doesn't basically do any dishes really. You know, he showed me his freezer and it's just full of like microwave dinners, and his refrigerator's like just full of bottled drinks of some kind or another. And it's like, this is so much money. And he was offering them to me, and I was like, well, I don't want. I'm like, I needed to go upstairs so I could get ready to do some of my exercises, because I hadn't done them for the day, and ended up not doing enough, that's for sure. Because I stuck with him too much, because he had too many needs of me at the time. And he was like, well, you know, take the phone that I don't use anymore, or whatever. I'm just like, dude, I'm not taking your phone. You figure out what you need to do with this phone. Because I reset the whole fucking thing for him, because it was basically a giant virus magnet. Probably because he doesn't look up any kind of porn or anything, because that's usually where it all comes from. Probably, you know, clicked on some kind of thing on a porn website or whatever, and got his phone fucked up, malware and all that kind of shit. That's the probable thing anyway. And so I'm just like, no, I can't take your phone with me. There's no point in it. I've erased it. You do with it what you need to now, or give it to somebody else. You know, go across the street and give it to the wine guard. Because, you know, they'll give it to somebody who, like Old phones are often used for like battered women's shelters, stuff like that. But, or hell, just keep it as a backup, just in case the other phone gets fucked up. But like, he was having a hard time remembering his PIN to open his phone. And I was just like, Jesus, you literally just opened the phone with the number. Use the number that you just opened it. And I'm just like, okay, this is going to be beyond me too soon. And then he wanted me to do something, but I was too busy and it was too late. And then, like, I had appointments and stuff the next day and whatnot, so I was like, just call me back on Friday, and he never called me back on Friday. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be about. Probably setting something up, who knows. But he seemed like a nice guy and everything, but at the same time, it's just like, my brain can handle only so much these days. And much of it is stuff I don't want to handle anyway. Like, I'm probably going to be overwhelmed when I'm in Iceland, to be honest. And to tack on to, you know, like looking at costs and stuff, some jackass stole my fucking blanket from the laundromat yesterday. It wasn't even dry yet. The blanket wasn't even dry. It was in the dryer for all of 20 minutes. And it's like, it's a nice little fuzzy blanket that like feels good on my skin, and it's one of the only blankets that I've ever really liked, besides the quilt that my grandmother made for me when I was younger. I ended up having to throw that out when I moved out of Texas. But I mean, I had it for over 20 years at that point too, so you know, the whole thing was falling apart. I didn't tell her that I threw it away, but I did just because like it would have been too much, so to speak. So I think I'm done doing dishes at this moment, because as much as I'd like to continue, and as much as I need to continue, I don't actually really want to continue doing my dishes. So I'm gonna set a timer. Oh, I forgot my computer was running on battery. So set a timer on the computer for an hour, and I'll check the beans then. Because again, they're only at 250, so they're not going to go crazy on like the cooking and stuff. I just want it to kind of like help to evaporate the juices, make it a more manageable situation. So let's set a timer. Clock at, because I'll be on this anyway. Let's see, hour. All right. So that'll do its thing in an hour. I gotta throw out some trash. I mean, even doing that, it's just tiring. Hey, you're sideways this whole time. It's whatever. It's always like that for the most part. Yeah, I got me some. I mixed 2 packages of pistachio pudding into this last night. I was watching Andor, because Andor is awesome. And I'm just about to start season 2. I watched the first season, what is it today, today's Monday. So started on Saturday, watched the first half of that season, of the first season on Saturday. Finished the first season last night. I'm probably going to do similar by watching the first half of season 2 and then the final half of season 2 today or tomorrow, and then watching Rogue One afterwards. Yeah, I use this little IKEA spoon to consume my puddings. That way I can, you know, consume less overall. Per eating session or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, now I got to figure out if I'll even get that other blanket back. I'm not even sure I want it back, to be honest. Like, what have they done to it since? Did they wrap their dog up in it or something? Or, you know, did they fuck on it? Who knows? I mean, at this point, I basically don't want it back. I wouldn't mind the money that it costs me, that I'm going to have to pay in order to get another one, which is like $27, $28, something like that, plus tax. And that just frustrates me. And so, like, because of that, it killed all the energy that I had about doing my laundry. So just all of it's just sitting here, and I haven't actually taken it out of the bag yet, organized any of it. I gotta do that soon. I mean, fortunately, since I've last had a video, I believe, I've picked up at least, let me see, where'd you go? That's one. Where's the black boy? Who knows? Maybe they stole that one. I don't fucking know. It's part of the problem too. Is like, I don't know what they stole. They probably didn't steal anything from my first run of clothes. Nevertheless, so I got 2 shirts in the mail recently. I got my. Yeah, you can already see it by now, but my NASA meatball, which awesome, officially from NASA. It's shipped out of Houston instead of out of JPL, so it took longer, but it didn't take that long. It took like a day and a half. They got my Complexly shirt. That took about 5 days. So I'm gonna take those with me as well when I'm gonna wear those to Iceland. I'm just going to have to do my laundry sitting there in the room with it from now on. At least until Iceland shows up and then I forget about it or whatever, who knows. But I've also got one coming from Phil DeFranco's site, Beautiful Bastard, the Dow is over 50,000 shirt. Like, I was going to crash out, but the Dow is over 50,000, something like that. It's a bunny rabbit doing like kick flips or something on a skateboard. So get that coming as well. Because like, I like t-shirts. I want more t-shirts. This shirt is literally the right size. It has been for so many years, but it's also like of a company that doesn't matter. But I'll just wear it until it can't wear it anymore. Wear it till it can't wear it no more. Also, one thing that I picked up when I was at the store, because I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it, but then I ran past them, and I was like, should definitely get some of these Uncrustables. Strawberry. Well, the problem is they're so goddamn easy to eat. Oh, man. I think I've got like half of the box left already, and it's only been like 2 days since I got it. I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time comes. But and you know, I sound almost judgmental when I'm talking about the other guy who lived here and he had everything that was like prepackaged and stuff. And I'm like, I'm starting to incorporate some prepackaged things into my day to day because of the fact that this wears me out so much. Just mentally, physically. Plus, I've got to do my physical stuff, physical therapy stuff. If I don't, then there's a good chance all this stuff will just continue to exacerbate. And it's healthy for me anyway to do the minimal exercises. It takes like 10-15 minutes tops. It's nothing like when I was actually going to the physical therapist and I was there for close to an hour. Oh, man. And like sometimes, I'll have, I got bottles of water in here now, which is good. And then I'm going to start making my hot dogs for my lunch. / breakfast, because it's basically breakfast time for me. Because it's not even noon, I don't think. That's part of the problem, too. It's currently 10:49 a.m. It's not even noon. Because I'm waking up at like 8, 9, sometimes 10 o'clock in the morning now. Part of it is because I've been playing so much WoW. And one day I was like, alright, I'm just gonna play until I get to, I think it was level 60 on a character on the Conquest of Ascension or whatever the fuck it's called server, the Vol'jin server that's new. And like, I do that. I was getting level 60 because in order to get to, once you get level 60 on that server, then you can take all of what they call heirlooms, some of which have experience boost items on them, or experience boost qualities to them, and then you can put those on all your other characters. And so I put all the XP boost items on my first major character that I was kind of getting tired of using for a bit because it's like it was a Horde character, and I don't really care for Horde in World of Warcraft because like I just care for most of the places that they level in, and like a lot of their quests, like just it's just so much fucking just kill this X number of things, collect this many things, whatever. It's just like I don't want to do that. The tedium of flying around and doing what they call fetch quests is easier on my brain than it is the tedium of like killing 10 things here and going back and blah blah blah. Because then also those kill quests force your bags to start accumulating, or you either have to get rid of stuff or you have to run back, and it's just so fucking annoying. Now it's not as much of an issue on the Vol'jin server because they start you off with like a shit ton of like super massive bags, or like 30 fucking slots a piece. So it's a lot easier to do stuff like that, but even then, like, it gets tiresome. And so what I've done is I've treated it kind of like the way that I treated what is known as A52, the Area 52 server, which is the free pick, and it lets you just pick all your skills. There's still some limitations, like there's some skills that have been labeled as legendary, and you only get so many of those, and you get so many rares and uncommons and commons. So like there's still some ways of preventing you from just building out exactly the build you want, which is kind of annoying. I was hoping I was able to like just pick whatever set of shit I wanted and just go from there. But anyway. But in the Area 52 free pick one, I'll use what they call Mana Storm, which is like basically just sort of a boss rush type situation. And it's a great way to level up quickly, but it also gets a little boring. So what I'll do is I'll run through that, 4, 5, 10, sometimes 15 levels, depending on how good the build is that I'm running. And also because I haven't leveled up my skills, they're not as good as they could be. And so the enemies become more difficult, and sometimes there's like not just bosses, there's like rooms in which a boss is, and there's a bunch of enemies in there, and then like sometimes those enemies have things like death effects that can like nuke your mana, or just also sometimes outright kill you. And so I'd run through that, I'd exit out, I'd find somebody with a Book of Ascension so I could level all my shit up for free, and then I'd run around and do like a bunch of fetch quests for like 5, 10 levels or whatever. And then, revert back and back and forth. So I kind of did something like that on the Vol'jin server with my what's called a Rune Master. And so like a leather user that utilizes magic as a way, almost like a monk in a way. They even start, I think, with, so you're either like a monk or you're kind of like a rune knight kind of thing, but you still only use leather armor. And so it's either two-handed build or it's dual wield. I went dual wield because I was like, I like the monk aspect of it and everything. And parts of it are really cool because like you have these abilities that like will blow up and do area effect damage. And so it's really good in specific dungeons, especially when there's like tight corridors and stuff. and there's like multiple enemies, and you're just like wailing on these fuckers and exploding the shit out of them. It's great, but it also gets tiring. So do that for a few levels, and then go do maybe, or at least start some fetch quests, or do some precursor fetch quest stuff. Because like the XP bonus is only like 1.5, I think, and so it's relatively slow. Because like one X, one times, normal XP run is like original classic experience, and that's slow as fuck. It's real fucking slow. It's not as slow as EverQuest, but it's still slow. And it's too slow. The only thing about EverQuest, and one of the reasons why EverQuest and the slow XP is kind of a good thing, is that it creates sort of a community aspect of things. Because what will happen is often, you're spending hours sometimes with the same people. So you gotta like bullshit with them and whatnot. But then also, because you're of a similar level to that person, you're probably gonna run into them again too when it comes time for you to go do some more experience grinding. Because a lot of times you just sit there and do nothing in EverQuest. That was actually how I learned a lot of the stuff. Was I would sit in the place known as Eastern Commonlands, and I would, well, these buns are a little on the squish side. I'd sit at the entrance of what they call the tunnel, because it was a tunnel, in Eastern Commonlands, and that's where everybody did all their auctioning and stuff. Where they were selling this, that, or the other, whether it was a good or a service that they were auctioning off. And then, because everybody was there, they were also, having conversations about all kinds of stuff. And, whether it was mostly in-character stuff. A lot of questions about what does this do or what does that do, etc. Or how do I get to this place? And so just by sitting there doing nothing and just kind of interacting and asking the offhanded question every now and then, I learned a lot from the people who were there, and then I would become essentially another person who got to pass along that information to other newbies or whatever. And so there's definitely a bigger community aspect to EverQuest because of the slowness, because of the slow pace. But at the same time, like, that slow pace gets on my fucking nerves real fast. Now, sure, I played it for like 4 years, roughly. Started in 2020, middle of 2020, or end of it actually. November 13th was when I first made my characters. Friday the 13th, 2020. And then, I got into a guild by the next March, and then I was raiding in like the plains and stuff by May. It was cool and all, but like I still never really felt like I connected with them. And I still communicate with them here and there, and we've all transitioned in one way or another away from EverQuest. Some people have stayed with the old guild, but that old guild got merged to a new guild and all kinds of stuff. And so, just they started to lose that like sort of community aspect that I was looking for. And so, it's like we moved over to World of Warcraft, and I was like, oh, okay, I haven't played that in forever. And so I started learning more and more about that. And, sometimes I'll just sit there and do nothing, and I'll just, have conversations with people. And that was when I was at the Turtle server, and that one was good, but then they got axed due to the Blizzard lawsuit. So now I'm on the Ascension server, And who knows when that'll get discarded too because of Blizzard, because they've got a lawsuit against them as well. And with the recent Turtle server shutdown, I'm sure they've been emboldened to be able to kick more ass in this regard. So, but I'm just kind of goofing off and playing with what I know, and in the meantime, slowly whittling away at my my dishes and the piece of wood, which hasn't really had much whittling done to it in recent days. And once this money kicks in, it's like I sold off 1,000 of each of the different ETFs that I have, and so that should be available and in my account, I want to say around Wednesday or Thursday, because first it's got to sell off and then I got to move it. And I'm going to have to pay capital gains tax on that as well later this year. Sorry, next year. So I'm going to have to put some of that, I'm going to have to save up what I can as well in between now and then. And then basically start prepping for the 2028 eclipse, because 2027 is not happening unless I get some kind of windfall. Because I'd have to start paying for plane tickets now. But, I've already got a couple of ideas. Like, there's the Penis Museum that's like right down the street from the hostel. There's a tattoo shop just in case things work out in my favor. I still have to buy a couple of things, like some new shoes. Like, I have the new normal shoes that I have, but I'm also going to try to get some travel shoes that'll help me when I'm there. Because what I've learned so far is that while, yes, there's a lot of, like, just generally level areas, like, there's also a lot of, like, places, plus just having a nice pair of shoes would be nice, because there's some Allbirds that I want to get that look pretty nice, and they're like $150. So I'd have to buy those and get them shipped pretty quickly in order to have them before I leave. And potentially also, because like I'm gonna hit there's a Skechers store down the street. I might skip the Allbirds and just get the Skechers, depending on what they have. But Skechers has those like slip-in shoes that I want, and so we'll see about those as well. But I have a lot, like sort of up in the air things that I have an idea of where they're going to land. And then, I was going to buy some more candies and stuff to give to the flight crews and whatnot, but I'm just like, at this point, I think I'm just going to stick with what I've got, which is the Werther's Originals and the Merci. And so I'll just hand those off as they are packaged to the flight crew as I see them. I got 4 flights, so. And then, we'll see about the beans in an hour. But right now, I'm going to eat these hot dogs because they're going to start cooling off too much. So, have fun.